Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. On this video, we're going to be heading into Ershim Lake, which is about 11 miles in on the top side of the Ducey Ershim Trail. It's probably the toughest part of the trail. So one of our rigs is going to be carrying a trailer, which makes it extra difficult. We're going to be building 2 new picnic tables there at the campsite at Ershim Lake. And I think they turned out really nice. We used the Alaskan mill, which is a bar that attaches to the chainsaw. It's pretty cool. Check out how we did it. I think they turned out really nice. They're going to be there for many years for people to use at the campground. It's way back in the remote wilderness. This trail is between 2 wilderness boundaries. It's pretty cool. Check out how we did it. Alrighty, enjoy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Front locker. That's it. That's it. Okay, now go hard driver.
Watch me in front.
You good? Okay, slow. Slow. Now you got the trailer trying to climb. Bump it. Just a little bit. Okay, now passenger. Passenger. Or just stay like that. No. Stop. Back up. Rear diff. This spot here is called Parking Lot in the Sky. Some people like to call it Top of the World, but I think it's one of the most beautiful, amazing places on a OHV trail in all of California. The views are really spectacular. It's a shot of 2 different wilderness areas, actually 3, maybe 4 different wilderness areas. The peaks are all 14,000 feet off in the distance. You can see Mount Whitney to the south. It's really amazing. After about 7 or 8 hours of wheeling, we finally made it into Ershim Lake. This is one of the most beautiful lakes on the trail. Probably got there around 6:30, maybe about 6 p.m. We started at about 11, I think. So we were able to set up camp before it got dark. And then the next morning we started our work. So the technique we are using here is called an Alaskan mill, and it's a bar that bolts on to the bar of the chainsaw. And what we do is we screw down a 2x6 on the top of the log, and that gives us a nice flat edge that guides the chainsaw right through the log at a pretty even cutting pace, and makes for a really nice smooth edge. Whereas in the past, what we would do is just freehand cut with the saw, and it would leave kind of like, saw marks, it kind of an uneven surface. And so I think this new technique that we're using makes for some really high quality tables, especially out in the middle of nowhere where you can't get like a lot of equipment in, you can't get like any big tables in there. So this really makes for a nice camping experience at Ershim Lake. So our next step, once we got the logs all leveled out and cut and in place, we pre-drilled the holes for the big bolts, and then countersunk the holes, and then used an impact driver to drive the big bolts in. And that's pretty much what holds the entire table together.
Rock right there. Who put that rock there?
So it's important to note that all these trees that we're using here were all dead. They died naturally. And they were taken down because they were a hazard to the campground. They probably could have fell on a tent or crushed somebody's vehicle. So they were all taken down because they were dead. And then so we were able to use this wood to build these tables. And actually, it's a good thing, because otherwise it probably would have just got burned up for firewood. As you can see, this process isn't the fastest in the world. One cut on a 10-foot log takes about 5 or 6 minutes to make one pass all the way through. So it can be a little time consuming, but I think the result is worth it.
Ooh, beautiful.
Nice. So after we get everything all leveled out and screwed down and all put together and it's all done, we go over it with the grinder and we smooth out any like splinters or any kind of something that might poke somebody, and then we go around all the edges and we chamfer all of the or bevel all the edges around the benches and around the tabletops, just so that there's not any splinters or anything that any chips that might like snag on some clothing or anything like that. So all being said, for the whole trip, we put in 2 new picnic tables, and we also put in 2 new fire rings that are cemented in with 80 pounds of cement each to hold them in place, make sure they don't move. These picnic tables turned out really nice. I think a lot of people are going to be able to enjoy them for a long time. And big shout out to the Hill Hoppers for coming in here and doing this. And they have adopt a campground
Okay, I'll
agreement
voice
for
over.
this campground. So if there's any maintenance you guys see that needs to be done, just contact the Hill Hoppers and we'll be sure and get it done. All right, I think that's all the work that we're having planned for this trip. Now it's time to head on out. Well, that was a great trip. All in all, we spent 1 day getting in and 2 days building the tables and then another whole day coming out. Really a good trip with everybody, good company. If you guys like this content, make sure please hit that subscribe button, and if you like, hit the like button, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.